Welcome, my friends. I'm Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. Thank you for joining me for today's video. Hey, we are going to create something really fun. We're going to be working with some scraps and with our circle dies. Guys, this is such a fun card. I'm telling you, it's like circle dies for the win here. Look at that. You know what? It's just some simple flowers I created with some very small scraps of cardstock and my circle dies. So much fun and such a creative little card. Are you ready to learn how? Okay, let's go get started. I am simply crazy about this card. First of all, I love eclectic images. That is one of my favorites. And I thought this lent itself perfectly to it. And again, as I said at the beginning, it's all about the scraps. So let's talk about the supplies you need to create the card. I'm using a gorgeous grape card base. This is cut 5.5 by 8.5. It is scored at 2 1/8 and 5.5. And what we're going to do is we're going to give that a little accordion fold. That's going to create kind of our little fun fold on our card. You're also going to need 2 pieces of basic white and 2 pieces of basic black. My basic white is 3.5 by 4 3/4. My basic black is 3 3/4 by 5. And you can see we are simply going to take those and layer. That black mat's going to really lend itself nicely to this really eclectic look. But remember, you guys get creative with your colors and with your ideas. You're also going to need 3 strips of Granny Apple Green cardstock. Now that could also be, if you wanted to use Old Olive or a different color, these are 1/8 of an inch. Again, I use scrap. I just cut a nice thin strip. These, I believe, are 5.5 inches. You can use any size scrap. As you can see here, this, we're just kind of using them for the stems. So the sizes that you cut that to, you've got some options. But I've got 3 because I've got a little trick for you. Yep, these truly are just scraps that I pulled out of my scrap bin. Now, everyone has a different size that they're like comfortable with in keeping. This is a pretty good size for me. Some of them are even smaller than I would normally keep, but let me show you what size scraps you're going to need. Let me bring in my circle dies. You could use circle punches as well. I'm going to use the smallest circle and the second smallest circle for my flowers. So when it comes to my scraps, as long as I can get those 2 dies to fit on there, I know I'm good. Let's see if this one will fit. That one's really small. Hey, look at that. It's a tight fit, but it fits, right? So there are my circles. And oh, how about I tell you these colors, because we've got some great color combinations going on here. So I have Mango Melody and Daffodil Delight. So that's one flower. Bermuda Bay and Coastal Cabana. That would be Melon Mambo, forgive me, and Magenta Madness, and Gorgeous Grape and Highland Heather. So you see, I just kind of changed the hues of each color. So we're going with kind of monochromatic colors on our flowers. Now, one thing you want to know about this card in particular, it's actually going to make 2 because I want to show you here on this card, you see there's Mango Melody and there's Daffodil Delight. So I have my lighter colors in the back and my darker colors on top. But remember when we cut these, we're cutting 2 out of the scraps. So that means we now have a dark large Mango Melody and a light Daffodil Delight. Not a problem. That's how we're going to make 2 cards. So these are the pieces I cut when I created this card. So yeah, we're just taking it up a notch. Here we go. So we're die cut, we're all ready. So what we want to do is we want to start to add these together. And I'm going to do that with Stampin' Dimensionals. Now I'm going to set my Highland Heather and my Gorgeous Grape off to the side because that will not be done with dimensionals because it's going on the inside of the card. So let's take all of our small circles and we'll simply add a Stampin' Dimensional to each one of those. And we're simply going to add those to our cards, but we're not going to center them up. Nope, we kind of want them a little ski-wampus. I think that's what's going to lend itself nicely to this kind of eclectic feel. Now the Highland Heather, because like I said, this is going on the inside, we're actually going to adhere these together with just some adhesive, just like that. So our flowers are ready. Now let's do some stamping and work on our stems. I'm going to use the stamp set Best Year, and I want to create a thank you card. So thank you for all that you do. And then on the inside of the card, I'm going to say, and every thoughtful thing you do. All right, so let's go ahead and stamp that. And I just stamped both of those in my Memento black ink and stamped them there up at the top of those two pieces of the basic white cardstock. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to bring in those strips. So for the first one, you're going to love this. We're just going to give it a fold, just like so. And I can add that here to my card. And can you see it's hanging off? I'm not worried about that. I'm going to trim that off. Now, before I adhere anything down, let's kind of get a feel for what our card is going to look like, because I don't want to hit my sentiment. And this one, of course, I want to kind of hang low, this one up high. Then I'll come in with one more about here. So again, I want to kind of eyeball things and have an idea of where my flowers are going to go. Then I can start to adhere my stems. Now I am going to tell you, multi-purpose glue is going to be your friend because these are so narrow. So let me remove my flowers here. And I'll add just some drops of glue. It's really not going to go too far. And now we can spread those apart and we will adhere those right here. There we go. Let's take this last one. Remember, it was right over here. Now you notice it's way too long, but I'm not worried about it because what I'm going to do is snip this off, and then I'll be able to use it on the inside of the card. So there we go. Stems are done. We're going to add this last one now to the inside of my card. And remember, this is the one that's going to have the purple flower. So again, I want to get an eyeball of where I want that to go. Just that thin little droplets of glue right there. And we will add that here. The other nice thing about this, you don't have to worry if your stem like, oh no, well, don't worry about it. You're going to cover it up. So don't get too wrapped up in how high you take that. And again, we'll snip off the bottom. And guess what? It's now time to put the card together. It's such an easy card. You remember those black pieces of cardstock? Well, since we have our multi-purpose glue out, we are going to adhere this to our basic black card base. Remember how I said that's what's going to make the card eclectic and really pop. Let me do this one as well. Yeah. All right, so this, of course, is the inside of my card. So let's go ahead and add this to the inside. And I have a trick for you for the outside piece. So it is very important we add the inside one first because we're going to add the outside piece. And you see, we want to make sure that it's totally covering that one. We wouldn't want to stick this down and have that edge showing. So it is very important you start with that inside. Okay, so here's the thing. We can't put adhesive here, right? Because that card has to open. So you only want adhesive here on this end. So here's my trick that I always like to do. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to line it up right on that edge of my inside piece. And now I have a visual. Do you see my visual? So now I can add glue here, here, here. Of course, this could be your other adhesive as well, but I have my multi-purpose glue out. So now I don't have to worry about it going over because I can flip this over. I can line up that cardstock. The other reason I like to use multi-purpose glue, it's a little forgiving. If I need to move this around, adhere that down. Ta-da! See, there's no glue on the back. So that's a really great trick. All right, now we're simply going to add our flowers. And again, we've got our multi-purpose glue, so we'll add one here, our Melon Mambo and Marvelous Magenta there, Mango Melody, Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to let this one hang off the card. Again, kind of lending itself to that eclectic look. Our last one is that Highland Heather and Gorgeous Grape. Sorry, Connie can't tell her colors apart today. And with that, our card is done. But if you like to add a little sparkle, a little fun, let me show you what I did to my card. I'm coming in with the Artistry Blooms sequins. I think sequins are so fun. And again, it just kind of has that little bit of an eclectic feel. So I'm going to add a large one and two small ones. Let's put this one about right there. Again, it just kind of adds that little bit of whimsy. Let me bring in my first card because you see they're the same, yet they're different. What a great way to create two cards. And you know, with this stamp set, I could have just changed the sentiment and I could have done a hip hip hooray. That would have been great for maybe a graduation card or a birthday card. But hey, I've got a happy birthday to you. I've got a you did it. Oh, there we go with that graduation. That would have been perfect. So also keep in mind what sentiment stamps do you already have? Get creative. We just need a great sentiment at the top and we can create some fun, very eclectic and unique flowers. And of course, they are all done with scraps. I'm telling you, circle dies for the win on this card. So very easy to create a simple card with what you have left over. Thank you so much for being a part of the video. Hey, if you enjoyed it, I'd love a thumbs up on YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed, click that great big red subscribe button. We'll let you know when we're back with a new video. Have a fantastic day, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.